Kia ora, this is Daddy Longlegs, a track out at the Woodhill Mountain Bike Park in Auckland. The park have given this a grade 2 in its general mountain bike grading, beginner intermediate, and we've given it a adapt grade 3 category. It's a very good ride for one of your first rides out at Woodhill, along with another track called Sesame Street that starts in the same area. This track is generally going to be a good place for you to learn to get control of your bike in some relatively wide and open terrain with low consequences if anything goes wrong. There's no steep side slopes, and the track is just got lots of undulations, gentle ups and downs, but nothing steep that you're going to have to deal with. The track starts at the map station 1, which is the first map station that you get to after you've climbed the hill on the gravel road from the car park, and the track ends about 200 metres down that same gravel road. After you've finished this track, you can just carry on up the gravel road and you'll get straight back to map station 1. The track has generally been well built by machine, so the bench width is consistently a metre wide or more, as you can see here. There are some lovely features of this track, which are the built up bermed turns. None of these turns are too big. There's a couple of 180 degree hairpin turns that we'll talk about when we get to them, but most of it is what you can see here, which is just some nice banked turns that allow you to really experience the flow of the bike with a bit of speed moving in from one turn to the other. And this is a very good track to run many times and just continually work on refining your braking skills and acceleration and ability to hold the bike in control with some speed moving from one turn into the next. None of it is too tight and technical. There's a couple of tighter turns, but nothing that you're going to need to do a 3-point turn on or anything like that, and nothing that's going to have technical features with severe consequences if things go wrong. So this track is got really good challenges for you to build confidence, but nothing that's going to cause any trouble if you make any major mistakes heading around it. Here we're heading onto one of the sections where the speed builds up and you really get to experience those bermed flowy turns. There's a couple of sections on this track where the camber of the track is on a slope heading downhill that you need to be aware of, but they're on sections where the side slope is relatively gentle, and the cambers aren't too steep for you to need to get across them by having speed. You can get through those cambers slow if you need to, and cautiously, and they're not going to cause any problems for you. We're just heading down now into another area where the gravity allows a bit of speed to build up if you let the brakes off, and you really get to experience a couple of these really nice built up turns. And we're going to head down to the first of the 180 degree bermed built up turns, and these I approached very cautiously the first few times I went around this track. As I've got more familiar with the turns now, I'm able to get around those turns and feel really strong and stable, but the first couple of times I had some support with somebody standing beside me to get around them. And now we're heading into a couple of the tighter technical, it's all relatively flat, but the turn radius is, the bowhead is at its tightest turn to get around these. There's no bridges or structures along this track, so there's nothing like that you're going to have to worry about, and there's no major obstacles along the way that you're going to have to deal with or get around. There are a few tree routes, but nothing like what are at other tracks at Woodhill. And here's the other area where the track starts to speed up downhill, just a nice gentle downhill slope, and then into the second of these 180 degree turns. And this one's got an odd little off camber sort of knob at the end of it that you need to be cautious of as you get around it. This is one of the side slope sections I was talking about, where there's a bit of off slope on the track, and there's also some side slope on the hill. But if there's nothing that's going to cause any major problems with hazards, and another couple of tighter turns here to get around, and there are no built-up jumps on this track. There's a couple of rollovers where if you let a bit of speed build up, your bike might leave the ground, like here. And then this is the last of the built-up turns that we had to get around to get up to the end of the track. Now from the end of the track here, you can either go over the road and finish going up the last part of Sesame Street, or you can head straight up the road that you're looking at there for 200 metres, and you'll get back to where we began.